It was the 70s, a decade where America discovered emission laws, fuel shortages, compact imports, and somehow fondue parties. In the middle of this chaos, American Motors Corporation looked at the future and said, "Let's build a car shaped like a bubble." Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of the AMC Pacer, the car that looked like it was designed inside a lava lamp. Welcome to Auto Chatter, where facts, opinion, and speculation will be given. Give a like if you dig this one and let us begin. AMC wasn't Ford. AMC wasn't GM. AMC was the scrappy little company that survived by doing the automotive equivalent of, what if we just tried doing something with less? Because less was all we had to work with. They made the Rambler, they made the Javelin, they made cars for people who wanted to be different, or couldn't find a Ford dealer. By the early 70s, AMC needed something new, something futuristic, something efficient, something that screamed, "We totally understand the energy crisis." So they began development of a radical compact car. AMC predicted the future of large cars was in jeopardy, so they better act now while supplies last. The Pacer began life as Project Amigo in 1971. AMC wanted it to be small outside, huge inside, modern, aerodynamic, and have safety features that were not even mandated by the government yet. Take that, Volvo. Possibly even front-wheel drive and powered by a rotary engine. Yes, the Pacer was supposed to launch with a Wankel rotary engine that was built and licensed from GM. Imagine the timeline, a rotary-powered fishbowl hatchback. America was this close to peak weirdness.
Missed it by that much.
But GM canceled the rotary program because they couldn't make it work, especially after the first oil crisis, because a rotary may be small, but they are thirsty. Plus ever-increasing emissions, and this is an engine designed to burn some oil to stay healthy. So that's a potential red flag. AMC was left standing there like, so anyone got a inline 6 laying around? AMC had to hastily modify the firewall and other components to accommodate a much larger inline 6 under the hood, and thus the Pacer became futuristic in style and extremely 1964 under the hood. Designer Dick Teague went wild. The car was 77 inches wide. That's Cadillac Eldorado territory, but was shorter than a Chevy Vega. Rounded body and would be one of the first mass-produced cars with cab-forward design, almost 20 years before Chrysler was bragging about it. Massive glass area. 37% of the car's surface area was glassed. Keep in mind, modern cars tend to have a lot more than the average car in the 70s, and it's around 25 to 40% today. Passenger door was 4 inches longer than the driver's, so people could get out of the back seat easier. AMC knew, like all the other car makers in the mid-70s, what the government would be mandating by 1980 safety-wise. So they went ahead a half-decade early and had them in place. Crash safety wasn't a huge deal then to many, besides Saab and maybe Volvo buyers, so that was a thoughtful touch, AMC. The Pacer wasn't a car, it was a rolling conversation starter, or a rolling panic attack, depending on the driver. Car and Driver referred to it as the Flying Fishbowl, and certainly comparisons were made to George Jetson's car. But the Pacer arrives in spring of 1975. America reacts like, is that a car or a futuristic microwave? Engine-wise, you had a 232 cubic inch inline 6 with 95 horses. Optional was a 258 inline 6 with 110. Transmissions was a 3-speed manual standard or 3-speed automatic that was available as an option. 0 to 60 was about 16.2 seconds. The gas mileage was rated about 16 city and 26 highway. The straight 6 wasn't thrifty though, so real-world numbers may have been lucky to see 20 on the highway. Weight-wise, we're talking 3,200 pounds. Pretty heavy for a smaller car then, and it could tip over 3,400 pounds depending on how you equip it. These things were as heavy and in some cases a little heavier than a 2026 Honda Accord. but the 0 to 60 in 16 seconds, that means you could finish an entire Bee Gees chorus before merging. But you had trim options. Feeling sporty? Get a Pacer X. Vinyl bucket front seats, sport steering wheel, front anti-sway bar, floor-mounted shifter, and sport trim. Then there's the DL or Deluxe trim. This was the luxury model. You're greeted with Navajo reclining front bucket seats, full wheel covers, and simulated wood on the dash. California buyers for $75 only could get a Sundowner package. It had a special fabric for the seats and inside door panels to match, roof rack, wheel covers, rear wiper, and a few other odds and ends.
Groovy.
We want something futuristic. How futuristic? Yes. Sales exploded though. 145,528 sold. For one glorious year, the fishbowl was hot. 1976 had a few changes. A 4-speed manual and some engine tweaks allowed it to get an extra mile to the gallon. But now buyers had time to process. The Pacer is still heavy, thirsty, weird looking. As it was 1976, AMC offered a Patriot Edition that was a sticker package. Sales were 117,244. Still solid, but the decline begins. For 1977, AMC introduces the Pacer wagon, because what America really needed was a station wagon shaped like an egg. Some will argue the wagon made it look more conventional though. The highlights for this one had a longer roof line, more cargo, same bubble vibes, optional wood grain decals. The car was 4 inches longer, but the wheelbase remained the same, and they managed to only add 76 pounds to the car's already heavy weight. So, it's practical. For what? For carrying more regret. 77 also introduces the Levi's package for Pacer. This was a thing with other AMC models too, like the Jeep CJ, Hornet, and Gremlin for a decent chunk of the 70s. Basically, it was a Levi's jeans-looking material on the seats and door panels, complete with copper rivets and orange stitching. Plus, you got a few Levi's stickers on the outside. It wasn't popular with Pacer buyers, though. Sad because AMC's, with the relatively inexpensive Levi's package, can now command quite a premium over one without today, especially in the Pacer's case as it was a one-year deal. Meanwhile, back to 1977, sales collapse. We're down to 58,264. The disco ball starts dimming. For 1978, AMC, in full chaos mode, says, what if we gave the fishbowl a V8? Yeah. A Pacer could be ordered with an AMC 304 cubic inch V8. Horsepower on one of those was rated at 130. So AMC looked at the Pacer and said, what if it was also slightly dangerous? Sales, though, were 21,231. So I'd say the V8 didn't help much. Plus a V8 option other small cars had then didn't tend to do well either. 78 also dropped the X package in favor of a sport one. They had equipment kind of like the X, but came in a two-tone paint scheme, slotted wheels, and they were only available with a larger 6 or V8. All 78s get a facelift to make the cars look a little more conventional, as its polarizing appearance was hurting sales, but it really didn't help. At this point, Pacers are basically being adopted, not purchased. Small imports from Europe and Japan were gaining in popularity at the Pacer's expense. They were better on fuel, and cars like a Toyota Corolla or Datsun B210 could be had for less. Was the Pacer's better ride worth it? Most didn't think that alone warranted the other baggage you had to take with it. By 1979, the Pacer is now outdated. Imports are winning. The 1980s are coming. The Pacer is pure 1970s energy in a world about to discover neon and Ronald Reagan. Sales were 10,215. Only the truly committed remain, and some of them bought the new limited version. About a quarter of all Pacers this year. These actually had some luxury features like leather seats, deeper pile carpeting, additional sound deadening, power windows and locks, tilt steering wheel, extra chrome, fancy wheel covers, and a limited trim, all standard. But 80 marks the end of the line. Production ends with barely a whisper. 1,746 sold, and most were the wagons. AMC moves on, the Pacer disappears, until pop culture resurrects it. The Pacer's true destiny wasn't sales charts, it was Hollywood. We're talking Wayne's World. The Mirthmobile became the most famous Pacer ever. Queen, headbanging, flames. That car sold for $71,500 recently. The Pacer failed as transportation, but succeeded as a comedy legend. It was still a backhanded compliment for the car to be used in Wayne's World, as it was obviously chosen as a loser mobile for two guys lacking career goals and still lived at home. You couldn't exactly have them driving Vanilla Ice's 5.0. The Pacer is now shorthand for 1970s weirdness, malaise-era styling, automotive bravery, fishbowl excellence, and they had a surprising amount of collectability today, if you can find one. Rarer models like the V8s are most desirable, and if it has a Levi's package too, you probably found the Holy Grail, not counting the actual Wayne's World car. But the AMC Pacer, it wasn't fast, it wasn't efficient, it wasn't even particularly sensible, but it was bold, and sometimes cars are remembered because they were, not because they were the best, they're remembered because they were unforgettable. The Pacer is proof that the future once looked like an aquarium. Anyway, this has been my Pacer chatter, and I do hope you liked it. Leave a like if so, please. Hit the subscribe button, and until next time, I'll be keeping the headlights on for you, and chatter out.